The college basketball experience pregame show for Saturday, January 13th on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Yes, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today, people. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US based and legal in 40 states. Head to cut.com. That's KUTT.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by the SGPN NFL Playoff Challenge, sponsored by Edge Boost. Free to enter. And $20,000 in Edge Boost deposit bonuses is up for grabs. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience. Saturday, January 13th, pregame show. We're gonna talk it all. We got line movement from last night. I think the best card yet when it comes to college hoops, potentially. Shout out to the chat, rocking along. Hopefully watching this, youtube.com/the college experience. Click that subscribe button, click that like button, and let's get it going. The slate, phenomenal. And you're wondering probably who the fuck you're listening to. And that's 100% fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Yes. I mean, NFL playoffs, college basketball, NHL, NBA, just the shit's thriving. Shit's thriving right now. But we're talking college hoops mostly on this show. And the slate is fantastic, and line movement has been happening through the night. So look, I'm not going to sound like a broken record from last night, even though my picks really haven't changed much, but there has been line movement. We got games tipping off in about 55 minutes. And if I had to rate, if you're looking to get those early bets in, the morning slate for me out here in California, I have, what I think, 4 wagers, and I'm probably going to do a 5th right now. But, Seton Hall Butler tips 55 minutes. Butler. Now this line has moved some. I am currently seeing, just make sure I'm not bullshitting you. Okay. I think I'm seeing 4.5 right now. Let me just double check. Yeah, 4.5. I got it at, I bet it yesterday at 3.5, but even at 4.5, I still think you go to the land down under and take them Butler Bulldogs and Thad Matta. I think Shaheen Holloway's done a great job. I'm a big fan, but they're due. Second end of a back-to-back away. They just barely squeaked by Georgetown the other day. And I think just Thad Matta at Hinkle, their team is better than their record. You saw them just win at Marquette. I thought they should have won at Providence. before that. And Seton Hall is just a team that needs to earn it to me when it comes to road games. Yes, they won at Providence, but that happens every year, I feel like. I think Butler can give them a lot of problems when it comes to pace, the home crowd behind them. What I think Butler's top 150 team in pace. Seton Hall's way back at 303rd. Normally that makes for a bad recipe. I feel like on the road where the momentum is on the offense or the home team that has the faster pace. Another thing, Seton Hall turns it over almost twice the amount as Butler. So there's that, and really that's all the difference to me. I know both teams pretty all right defensively, but I think the fact that Butler has a top 70 offensive rating, also home crowd behind him, Hinkle Fieldhouse, great environment. If you haven't been there for a college basketball game, you need to get there. Yeah. Anyway, I am off to the studio. You got to be able. Shout out to Channing Brown. Look, it's hard at home. Wife pregnant. So I don't get like here. You get 11 TV screens going, and you can even quad box those. So your knowledge is better. You don't really notice that until you leave and go back to being a civilian, as I like to say. You go to a bar and there's like only three TVs on. You're like, what the fuck, man? You get spoiled here at the SGPN studio. So had to come in today. I think I'll be in next Saturday too. But yeah, Butler getting it done. I think you guys should load up on Butler, even though the line moved in a bad direction for you. If you haven't bet this game, get it in. Shout out to Durko in the chat. He goes, I'm hitting the casino as we speak. Yes. And shout out to Antoine Gordon. Let's make some money. And Demarek also saying 3-game lock. Well, let me just go through. I'll get to that one, but I want to go through the morning slate here. I think Seton Hall, Butler. I think Butler's a lock. I like this. Is another one though that to me, and this is why I try to catch the shows the night before. I'm seeing Ohio at -4 right now at Western Michigan. I got it at 3.5 last night. But the Bobcats, I think, are just flat out better. Look, I get it. Western Michigan has won 4 straight. This is like the best start they've had in the MAC since fucking like the Reagan administration. I don't even remember, but they've gotten fortunate. They probably should have lost to Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois blew like a 20-point lead. And it's a good story, but I just think Ohio's in a different class in the MAC than them. So going in, I know Ohio's on the road in Kalamazoo, University Arena. Waldo's liquor pitchers are going to be rolling, but I think you just load up on the Ohio Bobcats and they get it done. Another thing is Ohio's 0-3 on the road. What better situation to get? I know you can take that either way, but Western Michigan, look, they have been so bad over the years, and they got fortunate. The first 2 games in the MAC were Miami, Ohio, and Buffalo, who suck ass. The Northern Illinois win was fantastic because you did battle back from a large deficit. But let's not kid ourselves here. This Western Michigan team still a team that got drilled by St. Thomas. Got drilled by UIC, Cleveland State. They're just not that good of a team. Georgia State got them by 7. North Dakota State got them. I think Ohio goes into Kalamazoo and gets it done. Lay the 4 points with the Bobcats. And that's a fucking lock. I'm going through my locks first, 9 a.m. because I want you to get these bets in. Now, Northwestern has moved down against us here. I had Northwestern +8. I'm seeing it at -7.5. I still think you ride Northwestern. If you ask me which one out of all of these at the 9 a.m. slate do I feel least about, it's probably this one, because Wisconsin's made me look like a fool through a lot of the season thus far. But I just think this is an old fashioned rock fight. Northwestern won the last year 54-52. Wisconsin is just kind of dominating this year. They're 12-3, but don't look now. Northwestern's 12-3 as well. they both play at an incredibly slow pace. I always love when you can get, I don't know, I guess I'll say north of 7.5. I think I probably said last night on the show north of 8. Anytime you have two teams with incredibly slow paces. Once again, I think Northwestern's 342nd, Wisconsin's 334th. I like taking the points in those situations. I know Madison gets lit, and I know the Kohl Center we rock it, but Wisconsin's won 5 in a row. So kind of expect a little bit of regression. Maybe they may. I mean, I still expect them to win the game, to tell you the truth, but I like taking a shot on the Northwestern Wildcats.
Wildcats.
And then my final lock of the exactly 9 a.m. slate was Syracuse. Now this is an interesting one because let me search around different books for you. I got it at 13.5 last night. The best you can do, as far as I can see right now, is I see a 13.5 still available at another book that I can't mention because it's not our sponsors. How about that? I loaded up on the Qs. I just think North Carolina coming off that rivalry win against NC State. And I do think this North Carolina team is really good. Top 10 right now. But I just think Syracuse can stay within that number. You know, I don't expect Syracuse to win this game at all. But North Carolina, I just expect a closer game. They've been down. They won 5 straight. You know, it's almost like the Wisconsin Northwestern handicap, you know, to a certain extent. They're just due for a close game. They've kind of had 5 straight blowouts. Or 5 straight double-digit wins. So I'm just going on the side, and 13 points. You know, what they beat NC State by 13 points. What they beat Clemson by 10 points. What they beat Pitt by 13 points. What they beat Oklahoma by 12 points. So I love our lights flickering out. I think 13 will get that, especially if you can get that 13.5 that's out there in the marketplace. Shout out to Nathan Cerna, Prick Dundee. I like that name too, Prick Dundee. There's a lot of nicknames you go with Pick Dundee. You got Prick Dundee, Dick Pick Dundee. You got a lot. Nathan saying he's on the Tar Heels. You got an 11.5. You got at least you got the best of the number. Maybe we can both middle that thing. Those are my best 9 a.m. plays. At 9:30, I did bet on LaSalle. VCU's heading up to LaSalle at the Gola Arena there in Philly. I think VCU's a little bit of fool's gold. I watched that George Mason game the other night at George Mason. I didn't think VCU deserved to win that game, but they stole that game. Credit to Ryan Odom and the Rams. But back-to-back away games now as they head to Philly. Against the Explorers, who are coming off a bad loss at UMass. I actually think LaSalle's probably the more talented team. It's close, but I'm getting 6 at home. Wait, let me make sure that line hadn't moved. Yeah. Come on, what's going on here? Sorry, waiting for the interwebs. Yeah, I'm seeing 5.5, 6. Shop around. I think LaSalle is live to win this thing on the money line. I got it at 6.5 last night, but I still take 6, 5.5. You're good. And I think it's worth a little bit of a money line sprinkle to take those Explorers in that spot. Now, okay, those are all my bets that I've made. I'm thinking about jumping on Tennessee -7 because it was a 7.5 last night. Even some 8s out there. I see it now at a flat 7. I think we just take a flyer. Tennessee's fucked them up over the years. Now, I do think this is the best Georgia team in some time. Mike Snow White's doing a great job. but Tennessee is just a veteran squad. So I say, let's throw some money on the Vols. Add it to the slate. Get over here. Add it to the fucking slate. Although my computer, I feel like it's about to blow up. So many wagers you start doing. Corporate gambling, shutting us down. What the fuck is happening over here? Reload, refresh. But yes, Tennessee, I think -7 is a worthy play. Those are the morning slates. Now I know the chat was asking about the parlay situation. First off, can I offer a parlay that I like? So we normally, when I say we, whether it's me, NC Nick, Patty C, or then obviously last year Moneyline Mac came along, and Noah Beanick, and but over the years, all 6 of us or whatever, 5 of us, we pretty much had a rule that Colgate minus the points you have to take every time in the Patriot League, and Vermont you have to take minus the points in the AE when it came to the regular season. So conference play, that is, especially at home. But I think both have been asked the past 2 plays. I think it's a get right spot. I'm going to parlay Vermont minus the points against NJIT with Colgate minus the points on the road at Bucknell. That's one parlay I'm doing. All right, playing my fucking music. I think that's gonna hit. I think today's the day. And then my favorite parlay. Well, some of my favorite plays, I should say. I think Kentucky loses today. I think the numbers telling you it. I felt it really last week. I was looking ahead at the schedule like 5-6 days ago, and I was like, A&M's going to need that game. They're in the more desperate spot. They're the much more veteran team, and that is why I think the Buzzsaw needs a big win. They've lost 2 straight. They're 9-6. They go to 9-7. Disaster. This is a team that's supposed to be his best team. Kentucky won by 9 a year ago. The last time they played, but I just think the more desperate spot, the veteran team member. This is a different Kentucky team than a year ago. I know A&M's offense has struggled. 340th in field goal percentage. That's terrible. Terrible. Meanwhile, Kentucky's 13th. But I think the defense is all the difference here. At home, College Station, top 10 team. I'm loading up on the Aggies of Texas A&M. Feel pretty good about it. Shout out to Trevor. Says on paper, Kentucky should roll them. Yeah, but on paper, Alabama should have fucked up Michigan, and Ohio State should have fucked up Michigan. That's not always the way it shakes out. Some of the other bets that I love the fucking Long Island Sharks getting 7.5 or 8 at fucking Sacred Hot. Rod Strickland's team has been kind of a darling of mine. I love Providence at home against Xavier. Back at the dunk, they lost 3 straight. Obviously, the Bryce Hopkins situation. Xavier, we know they came into the season beat up. I wanted to fade them on the road at all costs, and it's been treating us well because Xavier's 0-3 on the road. Providence 10-1 at home. The only loss to Seton Hall, and that happened last year. Seton Hall got them. Seton Hall, something about Seton Hall fucks with them. So I think we load up on the Friars at home -3, 3.5. I really like that play. I also think Kansas goes chalk. Now I know this climbed a point and a half overnight. I still feel decent that Kansas covers that big number against Oklahoma in the fog, coming off the loss to UCF. another one. San Diego State is at the pit where everyone gets laid, right? Let me tell you something. San Diego State needed a game winner last year. Probably should have lost the game, actually. Kind of let them off the hook. But I think that San Diego State obviously losing Keshad Johnson to Arizona. Matt Bradley's gone. They're still good, but they're not as good as a year ago. And that is why I think New Mexico's better this year too. New Mexico's also coming off the loss. I'm all over the Lobos at home against San Diego State. It's a great spot. Absolutely great spot to catch them. Other bets of mine, as my computer still blows up. I will take you to Terre Haute, Indiana. I don't believe in this. Like, the line is telling you that we should wager a lot of money on Indiana State. Indiana State, I think, is Sweet 16 good potentially, assuming they get the right matchups. They're coming off a loss at Drake. Belmont's a solid team. The Missouri Valley is a fucking great conference. Belmont's 11-5, fourth in the Valley currently. Indiana State second in the Valley. It's a must-win game for Indiana State coming off that Drake loss. Can't lose 2 in a row. I just think Indiana State drills Belmont in this spot. I think you lay the points. That offense that Indiana State has is just too much for Belmont on the road. If it was at Belmont, it'd be a different story. The fact they're gonna go into Terre Haute, I don't think it's happening. And then me and Rob Donaldson think alike here, because shout out to Rob Donaldson, but the Vanderbilt Commodores, I think, are live. You want your biggest money line play of the day, plus 400 I'm seeing right now. I think Vanderbilt is capable of beating Ole Miss today. I think Vanderbilt's gotten healthier. They've gotten better. Ole Miss is at LSU next and at Auburn. So big time road trip on the way. You just tackled Florida, a rival by a lot of points. It's a sleepy Vanderbilt team, 5-10. What could go wrong at the Pavilion there in Oxford, Mississippi? Well, I mean, first off, how about Vanderbilt beat them last year? I know Chris Beard, Ole Miss, a lot better this year, but it's just a sleepy spot. I think Vanderbilt is vastly improved from like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I think they cover the 10.5, the 11, and I think you sprinkle that money line. Ole Miss, a team, I know that it says 14-1, and look, I was on them to beat Florida. They got it done against Florida, but let's not kid ourselves here. They have some close wins. They have a 1-point win against a winless Detroit team. They have a 3-point win against a Sam Houston State team. They have a 1-point win against a Temple Owl team. A 3-point win to Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers, which, you know, I know that looks like a decent win right now, but 2-point win to UCF. I think that they can cover this thing. I mean, and I think it's a sleepy spot. I think they're thinking about that road trip. So give me the doors plus the points. Sprinkle that money line, and I'll see you at good old Victory Lane there. I mean, you got to take the points to cover your ass just in case, because I mean, they haven't really been drilling a lot of teams, even though the Cal game was 10. So if you can get that going, you'll be good. And as Trevor alludes to, yeah, Vandy can win that thing. St. John's Creighton's a big one. I can't wait to watch these fucking games. Today's slate is unbelievable. This line, I see it's 7.5. I took the Johnnies. I think Michael Crichton wins at home. Most likely, but I thought 7.5 was a little steep. Patino probably gets to lose by 4 or 5, something like that. What else was I on? Virginia's at Wake. Interesting ACC game. I saw this spread climbed up a little bit. Wake's now laying 6.5. I didn't bet this yesterday. I'm not going to bet it now. If it had gone further south, maybe I would have taken Wake. but 6.5 is a little steep for a Wake team that I do believe is a lot better. I do believe they're going to get the win, but at the same time, Virginia's going to show up at some point. I'm wondering when Dante Harris is going to play, the Georgetown transfer. UNC Asheville, we love this spot here. UNC Asheville is getting a point. I'm sorry, laying a point in the Kimmel Arena in Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville won by 10 a year ago. Longwood's got some suspensions, I believe. But even if they didn't, I think Asheville's just in a better spot right now. Asheville, don't look now. I mean, I feel like they've been a lot better than the beginning of the season. I know they just lost to High Point by 5, but High Point is really fucking good this year. Before that, they had rattled off I feel like 5 of 6, and their only loss was a close game at UAB. They beat App State in Boone by double digits. I think it's a bad spot for the Lancers. As they remember, they just played Thursday night. So I think Drew Pember, the Bulldogs of UNC Asheville, one of my favorite plays today, actually. Let's go. Another one I like is Notre Dame at home against Florida State. This is on the C-Dub. Make sure you turn it over to the C-Dub. Catch your Dawson's Creek. How about Notre Dame? How about Micah Shrewsbury? Look, they've won 3 of the last 5. Remember, they had that stretch where they lost to Georgetown and the Citadel, and earlier in the year they lost to who was it? Western Carolina. But 3 of the last 5, and when you look at this, okay, one of those was against Marist. Marist isn't horrible. Then they got Virginia by fucking 22 points in South Bend. Then a 2-point loss to NC State. Then they played well in a loss against Duke, and then they took down Georgia Tech in Atlanta. If they can get this with Boston College on deck, maybe they can really make some of their season here. I think Florida State, they've won 3 straight coming in South Bend. Florida State's the favorite here. 2 contrasts in styles. Notre Dame 350th in pace. Florida State, I think, top 50 team in pace. But I think Notre Dame's playing better, and Florida State, we've seen them have problems all year. Whether it was Lipscomb went into Tallahassee and got the dub against them. SMU, so they lost at South Florida, or I think it was a neutral site game. I think Notre Dame is live to. I know it's not a huge spread here, but I just think they can get it done. One of the games I'm most excited to watch is Utah State at UNLV. Utah State is just rolling. Danny Sprinkle in this program. They lose players, they lose coaches, and they just keep on fucking winning. But they're sitting there at an unbelievable 15-1. UNLV is 8-6, coming off a big win over New Mexico. But if they want to get at it, remember UNLV had some awful loss. What did they lose? The Southern in the season opener. They had some tough losses early in the year. I think one of them was Florida State, actually. The Richmond Spiders got them. Loyola Marymount and Kelly LePepe got them. So you got to right these wrongs, and a quality win like this, because that resume doesn't have a lot. UNLV does not have a lot. They have Creighton, Akron, and New Mexico. Keep building that resume. I know they got Boise on deck and Colorado State. They need this win. 3 straight great opponents in a row. The Mountain West is a fucking gauntlet these days. They take down Utah State at home. Can't wait to watch this game. Another one I like is UT Arlington. Mavericks are a better team than their record. They're at home, taking on Seattle. Seattle's on back-to-back away. I think Arlington, you lay the 1.5 against Seattle away from the ozone layer. Other plays I like. I did load up on the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana at Arkansas State. Not one of my favorite plays, but I like it enough that I bet it. Old Dominion -1.5 against Coastal. Old Dominion's just due for a win. They've been blowing 20-point leads left and right. Excited to watch that South Carolina Mizzou game, but I'm not betting it. And I love Wyoming -3.5. This line went down overnight. It's down to 3.5. I reloaded on. I bet this twice. I think Fresno is just a bad team this year, and I think Wyoming's still solid. So I like laying the points in Laramie there with the Cowboys. I also love, as you know. This line's come down some. I still think ECU is the right side. I think they're going to beat SMU today outright. So sprinkle that money line. Southern Florida A&M was one that caught my eye. I know this line skyrocketed overnight. At 6 now, I still lean Southern, but obviously it's not as attractive in the SWAC. Kansas State, Texas Tech. Cannot wait to watch this game. I took the points in K-State. Don't bet this game. James Madison laying 5.5 or 6. I kind of love this spot. App State in football ruined their perfect season. App State's coming on the road here. I just think JMU's a flat out better team. If it was in Boone, maybe I'd buy into App. Maybe pulling off the upside. JMU 7-0 at home. App's 3-3 on the road. I just think JMU's going to fuck them up. So I like laying the points with the Dukes. BYU, UCF. I know the chat was talking about this one a little bit. Can't wait to watch this one too. BYU, I think you lay it here. Now this has gone up a little bit overnight. It's 5.5 now. I wouldn't go that far, and I don't even know that I'd bet it at 5.5. 4.5, I did like the bet on BYU. 5.5, I still lean BYU, but I'm not in love with it. So shout out to Virgil in the chat. Appreciate the chat always. And excited to watch the Mormons versus Morons game. Arkansas, Florida. You want to talk about desperation? You want to talk about drama? Both these teams coming into the season with high hopes. Arkansas 9-6. Is Eric Musselman's team really going to fall to 9-7? That would be shocking because they fought at 9-7, and they got A&M on deck. That isn't a for sure win by any means. Meanwhile, Florida's 10-5, but they haven't really beat many teams of. They lost to Virginia. Tony Bennett. They did beat Florida State and Pitt, but they have other losses to Baylor, Wake. Should have lost to ECU and Kentucky and Ole Miss here. And to me, if you're Florida, you don't get this one. Your next two games are at Tennessee and at Mizzou. I know Mizzou's not great, but still, it's on the road. Could have a disaster situation going on for Todd Golden here. I am taking the Razorbacks plus 7.5 though. I think Florida may get the win. I don't know. I think it's worth taking a shot on Arkansas on the money line just because Golden hasn't proved it to me. They're at home. Florida should win the game, but I'll take the points at Arkansas. Not a bet that I'm personally making though. And Arkansas boosters about to go crazy. I like Northridge. This line went down overnight. Northridge only laying 3.5 or 4 now. It was I think 4.5 or 5. I think this Northridge team is better than what people think. I mean, I guess the UCLA win looks less impressive now, obviously, as they went to Westwood and smacked Big Brother. But still, this is a team that went. That took it to Long Beach State in Long Beach at the Diamond, at the Pyramid, whatever the fuck. They beat down a good Hawaii team by double digits. Now, yes, they got smacked in Davis, California against Jim Les. Concerning, sure, but I think they can get this one against Cal State Fullerton. Excited to watch that one too. I was even thinking about going to it, but the problem is I want to go to these games, but there's a bunch of great games on, so I'm all conflicted. Let's talk about a disgusting play. Holy Cross is getting 9 points at Lehigh. I believe that Holy Cross is a bottom 20 team in all of America, maybe even bottom 10. But I also believe that Lehigh is a bottom 30 team. How the fuck could you lay 9 points with Lehigh? I just can't. I can't. I'm actually going to bet. I've already bet. Holy Cross plus the points, which is just silly. It's fucking silly. This is what's great about college hoops is they give you all different types of games. What if I told you that Holy Cross? I'm betting on the team that's 358th in defense. That's why you gotta love this fucking shit. Yeah, smash spot. What else do we got going on here? I know Georgia Tech's heading to Cameron Indoor. Duke's gonna fuck them up. I even thought about potentially betting Duke. Remember, Duke lost in Atlanta, so it's a revenge spot for Duke. I ended up staying off, but it's at like 17 and a half. Shop around. I do think Duke is the right side there. A game that the line has just gone insane with is Jacksonville State, Western Kentucky. This is one that the line, I think it probably is the biggest line movement of the day here. Let me just check a few. Western Kentucky's laying 5.5. This was like a 1.5, 2 point spread last night. Not really sure why all that money has. I'm not sure what happened here, but I can tell you this: I'm glad I bet Western Kentucky last night because I don't know at 5.5 how comfortable I feel on laying it. This arena gets lit. It's on CBS Sports Network, nationally televised. I still lean tops, but the line movement's been fucking insane in this game. Tops are 7-0 at home. It's all the difference for me. And don't forget, Jacksonville State has won 6 or 7 in a row. I feel like. I don't know why that line move. Anyone and does chat any idea about that line movement? Yeah, that line movement's been insane in this game. Yeah, I know. Chat can't believe I'm going in on Holy Cross. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Some other plays I like. I am taking Miami to beat Virginia Tech today. Not buying into this shit. Miami, horrible loss to Louisville the other night, where they got their healthy guys back. Woogle Poplar, some of the other guys that were out, Nigel Pack. They're a better team than Virginia Tech. They're gonna go into Blacksburg and win. I'm taking a shot on that. Mac has also convinced me to take West Virginia plus 6.5, even though I've lost so much money on West Virginia this year. They're 5-10, but I do think it's a great spot. It's on the road in the middle of a fucking blizzard. Caden Shedrick is a game time decision. They just had a buzzer beater, Max Asmus buzzer beater at Cincy. I think it's a dangerous spot for the Longhorns today. So I did take a shot on West Virginia, and I also took a shot on the money line there. I did load up on Middle Tennessee against Sam Houston. I think they are capable of getting that done. They're normally really good in Murfreesboro. Houston TCU. This game is fantastic. I know Virgil's saying Houston should smash TCU. I'm not of that opinion. I think it's going to be a game. I think Houston. I love Kelvin Sampson. I love this Houston team, but remember they're in Big 12 play. Before they could have breathers. You'd play Memphis, which was a big game in the AAC, and then the very next night, or 2 nights later, taking on the likes of North Texas is solid, but they weren't in the AAC last year. Tulsa, they'd take on Tulsa 2 days later, and then 2 days after that, they would take on Temple, and then they'd have a big game at Wichita, and then they'd have a game at a boring ass South Florida when South Florida was trash the past couple of years. It was a different, you could get up, pick and choose your spots. TCU is talented. I think TCU gives them a game. I think the Big 12 is just jumping up to the Big 12. I think Houston's going to be fine. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament and everything, but I don't think they're just going to smash these teams left and right. I think it's completely fucking different. So Give me TCU in the points there. Houston may cover, not a lock of mine, but I think that's going to be a game. Jackson State's laying 5.5 at Alabama A&M. Jackson State has been a fucking cash machine this year. Mo Williams doing a great job there. And I hit on them. I hit on them the other night. Disrespectful line against Alabama State. I hit on them against Alcorn. I hit on them against Northwestern. Hit on them against Gonzaga. You know, I think Georgetown early in the year. Missouri earlier in the year. Jackson State is a good basketball team. I know you see 6-9. Don't buy into that shit. They spent 2 months on the fucking road like the goddamn circus. All right. They're a better fucking team. This is a team that I think can go to the NCAA tournament, and I actually think they can give a team problems potentially in the NCAA tournament. Load up on Jackson State minus 5.5. Let's go. Let's fucking go. It's exciting to see Mo Williams doing a damn good job there. Eastern Washington's laying 6.5 at Idaho. System play. Laying the points. Laying the fucking points. Get this Moscow, Idaho bullshit out of here with your goddamn U-Hauls and your fucking racist fucking shit you got going on there. Eastern Washington is going into that hellhole and it's going to fuck them up. Eastern Washington is a fucking wagon. And I know you can, I mean, this is a lock battle against Noah Beanick here, but I don't think the analytics are accurate when looking at Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington's road schedule to start the season. Let's much like Jackson State. Let's talk about this. Eastern Washington, you say 8-7 against Idaho 7-8. All right. Eastern Washington's at Utah to start the season. They lose by like 35. The very next night, they're a couple nights later, they're at Ole Miss. They lose by single digits at Ole Miss. So they go from Salt Lake City to Mississippi. Then a 48-hour turnaround. They're at Cincinnati. They only lose by 12. Then they're at Palo Alto taking on Stanford. They lose by what? 25 points. Then they get a little bit of a breather because they get a D2 team. They win. First win of the season against Walla Walla. But then they're at Pullman taking on Washington State. And then just 48 hours later, they're in Los Angeles taking on USC. Right? So they're sitting there at 1-6 or something. Then they head to Colorado Springs to take on Air Force, where they upset them as an 8 or 9 point dog. Then they come home, take on Portland Bible, beat them by fucking 70. Then they head to San Luis Obispo, take down Cal Poly by double digits, I think, if memory serves me correct. Then they go to Seattle to take on the Washington Huskies, and they almost won that game. And then since then, they got Portland State, they got Sac State, they got South Dakota, North Dakota. They've won 4 straight. This team is way better than their fucking record. Way better than their record. Anyway, Eastern Washington, load up, folks. Other plays that I'm on. I did take Weber State to bounce back against Portland State. I don't love that one as much as a lot of the others on the board, but I think it's just a system play. I like UT Rio Grande to stay hot and take down Utah Valley. I like Cal Baptist to put it on Abilene Christian at home. I think the California Golden Bears, well, I don't know. That's down to 6.5. I still like it, but obviously when you got it at 8, that felt a lot safer. I think Eastern Kentucky is going to drill North Alabama on the road. That's a game that I've bet. Alabama, Mississippi State. I'm fascinated by that game. Obviously just the 2 different styles of play. Chris Jan's year 2 also in Starkville. What are they in pace? They're like fucking 200 in pace. Alabama's a top 50 team in pace. So just the contrast in styles should make that game fascinating. I went Hail State, didn't bet that game, but give me Mississippi State to get it done there. System play here. I don't think Air Force is any good. San Jose State, the line stinks to fucking high hell. I think San Jose State wins in Colorado Springs. And then I think the Buffs are going to lay it on USC today. I know that's like a 10-point spread, 10.5-point spread. I still think you lay it with the Buffs. I did take a flyer on Santa Barbara to take down Long Beach State at home. I know Santa Barbara's been a train wreck. Rivalry game there. I went to this game last year. There was a dust up. Yeah, that was the logic here. UC Riverside's getting 7.5 at Hawaii. 7 or 7.5. I think you ride the guys on the island to get one. They're due. Clark saying he took Air Force. They got to get one. Perhaps, man. Back to the parlay question at the beginning of the show. Oh, let me tell you. We forgot a game. We forgot the St. Mary's game, and this line has gone up. Where the fuck is this game? Another thing is I like Oklahoma State in the points in Ames today as well. What is that line right now? Why am I not seeing this shit? St. Mary's. I know it went up overnight. I thought that was one of the best plays you could make. You know, with the way, so it's at 7 now. It was at 5 last night. It's climbed up 2 points. St. Mary's laying 7 at Santa Clara. I still think you ride St. Mary's, but obviously I loved it at 5. Probably my biggest bet of the day, if memory serves me correct. Santa Clara just beat Gonzaga on a buzzer beater. First time they beat Gonzaga I mean, maybe even ever. I don't even remember, or at least in the past 20 years. It's a great spot for St. Mary's to go in there, and they're also competing for the 1 seed there. At 7, it's not as good, obviously, but I still think it's a great play. I would say you want to parlay that, but at 7, maybe we back away because there's probably a better parlay to do. But let's take this. I don't think New Mexico's losing at the pit today. I am going to take New Mexico as part of a parlay or a round robin, whatever you want to fucking do. I think that's a pretty safe and sound bet. I know San Diego State played in the national championship a year ago. I just like that game a lot. I also like James Madison to put it on App State. And I also like Wyoming to drill Fresno State. Those are 3 right there that I feel pretty fucking good about. I do feel good about A&M, but Kentucky has the talent to make you look like a fool always. I'll even throw Providence into that mix, as I think Providence gets the best of Xavier. Those are 4 teams right there. If I had to add a 5th, it might be Butler. I think that's your parlay. A round robin. I felt like I'm maybe forgetting a game. Oh, Vanderbilt is a game that I just think you take the point. I think you keep that off the board. I think you bet that with the points and on the money line. But I do like that Jackson State play too. Folks, chat, you got any questions? We got 10 minutes. We can bullshit here. What's going on? Any questions? I know Terrell Furman couldn't make it today. Shout out to Terrell. People are asking my NFL plays. I took the Houston Texans, but that game's boring as fuck to me. Took the Chiefs at night. Love that game. Can't wait. Weather makes football better. Virgil's asking UC Riverside or Hawaii. Look, I like Riverside is a lot better than beginning than in November, but I think Hawaii is just due. I think you lay the points in Hawaii. Trevor's asking Wake Forest, Virginia. I lean Wake Forest, but that line's crept up so much. Virginia plays at such a slow pace. I don't like laying a lot of points, but I do think Wake is the right side still right now. Demarek in the chat says Middle Tennessee. I do like Middle Tennessee. Look, Middle Tennessee normally defends home court well. They should have won the other night. They got robbed. And yeah, I think Middle Tennessee is the right play there. I've actually bet this myself too. My thoughts on Merrimack Lemoyne. This is a fascinating game. I know that sounds like a ridiculous statement, but I think Merrimack is the better team. I think Lemoyne has come in to D1 at a better rate. You know, they're better than what we thought they would be. It's at Lemoyne, but I still think Merrimack's the better team. I got Merrimack getting it done. Ryan Moses, shout out to Ryan Moses in the chat. It says Lipscomb or Austin P. I took Austin P with the points. I know Lipscomb has been playing pretty fucking good though. They drilled Bellarmine the other night, and then they took down Florida State in Tallahassee. I took the points in Austin P. That's an in-state rivalry game too. Like, so I think the fact you can get points in a game between two teams in state that are both good teams. That's a good basketball game though. Try to get eyes on that one. Johnny Boy's asking about the Long Island Sharks on the money line. It's always worth a spread, but take the points. Take the points all day here. Oh, look at this guy. Look, I was just talking about you. I was just saying, shout out to Terrell Fairman, couldn't make it, but no, he's in. What's up,
man? Hey, I had to get in here because I heard you talking about Lemoyne, and I'm like, what? Whoa.
Like, that's my team. That's my team. What are they? 10-2 ATS. Yeah. I mean, look. First off, Carolina, your boys taking on Syracuse. Syracuse is laying, or I'm sorry, Syracuse is getting 13.5. Where you leaning? Where are you leaning there?
You know, when I take my boys, they let me down.
I took the Qs. I think Qs can cover. Carolina's going to win the game, but 13.5 is a big number.
It is a big number. It is a big number, but I'm really not in on this Syracuse team at all this year. Like I'm really kind of really down bad on them. I think that I'm more just fading my handicap of USC and saying that I really do think they dominate this game. And typically when I feel that good about them is when they let me down. So I would take Syracuse because of that, but not feeling good about UNC today, especially coming off of NC State.
Yeah, I mean. Is there any?
What is Oahu?
Yeah. There we go. Something else that looks better in the background. I don't even know if this is it. This is the one. How about some of the bigger games today? Like, how about this desperation? Arkansas getting 8 points, 7.5, 8 at Florida. Both teams really need this win. Got a lean here.
You said what was the line again? What line you have?
I think 7.5 right now is what I'm seeing.
I think I'm at the point where I'm bought in on this Florida team.
I mean,
I think I'm all the way bought in on Florida. I mean, they had that tough game against Kentucky last week that we were talking about, and granted, I expected them to win. I think they were actually favored in that game. Kentucky is a powerhouse, it feels like, this season, and really good, and this Florida team can keep up. You know, I'm kind of pessimistic about, the Gamecocks down there. You said South Carolina, right?
No. What do you mean? The Florida against Arkansas.
Oh, Florida against Arkansas.
Arkansas. It's in Gainesville, though. It's in Gainesville. And Arkansas is getting 7.5.
I'm going Florida. I'm going Florida.
What about the likes of? I think Kentucky's going to lose today at Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M's lost 2 in a row. Kentucky is due. I think A&M's a veteran team. I think Kentucky gets a loss here in College Station. Top 10 team going into College Station.
Why is A&M laying 2?
They're telling you. Load up on those Aggies. Load up on those Aggies.
We tried to fade. I guess we tried to fade Kentucky last week. Well, I did try to fade Kentucky with the Georgia play, and that didn't go my way. I'm gonna do it again with Buzz Williams today.
Yeah, smash spot.
I think Kentucky is gonna be a tournament team, though. I'm looking forward to them in the tournament.
Oh, definitely. I think they're a much improved team. Some of the other big games is what? I mean, Northwestern's at Wisconsin. Both teams have the same record. Wisconsin's been a fucking complete surprise this year in college hoops. The Badgers are laying 7.5. Northwestern beat them in Madison a year ago. I took the points with Northwestern though. Just staples on staples. Give me the points. What are you doing here?
I think I've done. It's probably been a good year since I bet Wisconsin. I think it's been a good year since I bet Wisconsin. I really don't like Wisconsin. My co-host Scott Studio Reichel, a Wisconsin grad, hates Wisconsin. I'm not betting Wisconsin. I'll take Northwestern points.
Yeah, shout out to Landon Bernard. I know he's a big Wisconsin fan, and look, they've been a great story. And I've been fading them, Landon, as you well know. But and he said something I found deep diving on my Badgers last year. 17 31 games ended within 5 points. This year, 0-15 wow, that's pretty fascinating. I'm still taking it because it's bound to happen now. If they're 0-15 on that, let's go. Or 0 out of the 15 have been within that margin. Rick Pitino heading into Omaha. Take on Creighton. Creighton's laying 7.5.
Some good old Big East basketball.
It's too many points, man. Rick Pitino covered at UConn. He covers in Omaha. What are you doing here?
I'm taking Rick Pitino in 6.5.
I'm seeing 7.5. Yeah.
Am I crazy for thinking at some point they're going to need a marquee win on the road? At some point.
Yeah.
The Villanova's not a good enough win on the road. At some point they're going to need a really, really good win on the road.
Yeah.
They get up for this game. They may not get the dub, but this is a one possession game. 6.5 is way too many.
Virgil in the chat, shout out to Virgil. He goes, I put my firstborn son on Houston today. Houston is laying 4.5.
Oh, where's money line Matt? Wait, no,
at
they play
TCU. No, yeah. This is a dangerous game, Virgil. I think TCU's got athleticism, man. I took TCU in the points, but I think it's right around that number. I do think Houston probably wins the game, but I wouldn't shock me at all if TCU won this game. We lose you?
TCU at home. Looking at ATS, they're currently sitting at 6-4 ATS this season. Houston on the road, 1-4 ATS this season. That is, he did say Houston. Well, Houston doesn't cover 1-4 ATS on the road. I don't know if that's the spot that you really want to back them at. TCU's still a perfect 8-0 at home. I'm feeling a home dog here. I like the under for the game though. Love the under for the game.
Yeah, that game's gonna be a great watch. Smash spot. Kansas just lost at UCF. They come back to the Fog. They're taking on a top 10 Oklahoma team in Porter Moser. The Lions crept up a little bit overnight, but I still think it's 7.5. I still like laying the points with Kansas. You?
This is the spot Porter Moser always fails me in. These big time, playing one of the best Kansas teams, and his team just doesn't get up for the spot. I'm with Kansas.
Xavier's at Providence, another Big East battle. Providence laying 3.5. I think we load up on Providence and Kim English. They've lost 3 straight. Get right spot as a depleted Xavier comes through the door there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I lay it with Kim English and his group. I think they're playing a little bit better basketball than this Xavier team. I'm trying to still figure out who this Xavier team really is and how they're going to stack up over the course of this conference, and I think they're towards the bottom, if you ask me. So I'm all over Providence here. Again, we love more Big East basketball.
Yeah. And San Diego State's at the Pit, taking on New Mexico today. New Mexico's laying 2.5. I think the Lobos are drilling the runners up from a year ago. What are you doing here?
Yeah, give me the Lobos. Get it done.
Another one.
Mhm.
Utah State. Utah
What do you
State.
think on that game? What do you think on that game?
Which one? San Diego State or the Utah
No,
State one?
Utah State and UNLV.
So I think the line's telling you everything. What? Utah State is laying. They're 15-1. They're going into Vegas against an 8-6 UNLV team, and the spread is this short. UNLV is winning this.
I feel like I saw a bunch of people on Twitter and Twitter cappers, and they're saying put it on Utah State, put everything down on Utah State. And I thought that UNLV was playing the style of basketball that could really fuck with Utah State and get a win at home.
Yeah. I think Utah State's just due for a loss.
All right, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that was fading Utah State today. I saw a lot of people on Utah State today.
Yeah, I mean Appalachian State is taking on JMU in one of the biggest Sun Belt games of the season here, maybe the biggest. JMU's laying 6. I think JMU's going to fuck them up personally. It's in Harrisonburg. I think we worry about JMU and they have to go to Boone, which I actually think is coming up too. But I think JMU gets it done here. Remember they took that first loss 2 games ago against Southern Miss. They know they got to get this one against, this is a battle for seeding right here in the Sun Belt. So I'm laying the 6. Bet the hell out of it. That's what I'm saying. What are you doing here?
Yeah, lock up JMU. Lock up JMU. They should go in the Virginia parlay this week. They should go up into the Virginia parlay this week. I was waiting until I was hoping I was able to lock something up before we got up out of here. Yeah, lock up JMU to get it done.
The Virginia parlay, though, you're gonna have to look elsewhere than the Hokies because I think Miami's gonna go into Blacksburg and get the best of them.
That's what they all say. That's what they all say. They all think they can just walk into Blacksburg and get a win. No, I do think Miami will mess with them a little bit. I actually do, but I'm concerned for Wake though. I'm concerned for Wake. I think Wake laying 6.
I stayed off that game. That line's crept up too. That was like 5. Yeah. I know we gotta go. Yeah. But George Mason's going to win at Richmond.
That's
Tony Skin rebound game. Let's go.
That's the other one. Yep.
Anything else you want to throw?
George Mason on the money line, and give me JMU -6.5. That is the Virginia parlay for this week.
There we go, folks. Get in on that Virginia parlay. All right, and make sure you check out Terrell Furman. Look at it. He said he had to do shit today. Still finding a way. As I'm sure he's outside of a fucking shopping mall parking lot or something right now. But anyway, give Terrell Furman a follow on Twitter, @reallyrail_. Make sure you check out the NBA Gambling Podcast, the WNBA Gambling Podcast. He's on the NFL Gambling Podcast. Sometimes he's on the Sports Gambling Podcast. Sometimes he's on a bunch of shit. You got to check him out. He's always doing stuff. Appreciate you tuning in, Terrell.
Yeah, appreciate you for getting me in here.
Of course, man. And what I know you had a birthday party today. So
yep, I'm about to head over there now.
Yeah. Your godson, tell him happy birthday from old Pick Dundee. All right, he's gonna be like, who the fuck is that? All right, folks.
Hey, what's up? I'm gonna tell him we placed some bets in your honor. So
there we go.
While we're having fun, we're gonna have this TV on the game.
Let's get him on that Virginia parlay. Let's go, folks. Shout out to Terrell Furman Jr., folks. Give him a follow. We'll be back tonight picking tomorrow's games, folks. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time, folks, this is the college basketball experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Yeah, it's got me thinking about the good shit. The minute that I seen your grill again, it made me good trip. Good dog the mind back like dog rewind that. Man, I didn't get mad when you hit me can back, but The comings on was strong. Now my shit's coming along, you know the song. The truth is I'm pretty much on fire again. It's heating up for real, I'm alive again. And that's the attraction factor. Vancouver, Michigan.